Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, look, me and Mel did a video together, an interview. And this is before Christmas, by the way. As I'm going through and editing the video, I was saving it. And as I'm editing it, the video just disappeared. I'm not even kidding. Disappeared. Boop, gone. Had no idea where it was. I looked everywhere for it. It drove me crazy. And I wasn't about to call Mel up and say, hey, let's do another interview because the other one's gone. I was like, oh, good Lord, it's just gone. By the way, I was looking for a picture that was on my computer. And as I'm looking for the picture, I came across the video that I lost. So here is a video of me and Mel. It's the interview that we did together. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. It was a good video. And my apologies that it's coming out so late. My apologies to Mel. Sweetie, it just came out way too late. So we'll get into it here in just a moment. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so. Because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPYSILVER. Yes, it has changed. PIMPYSILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. And for those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. Just go ahead and pause the video and write her down. And if you're trying to get a hold of me, that's a good way to get a hold of me. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play the video with me and Mel, the interview that we did quite some time back. Just so you're aware, as we get into this video, it's not really subject specific. We just decided to get together and just shoot the shit, so to speak. We do touch on a multitude of subjects, from dogs to dinars to you name it. Okay, look out. There's McLovin. See that? Okay, look out. There's McLovin. See that little pain in the ass?
Oh, how cute! You have two, right?
Yeah, the other one's a little fatty. She's older, and she's the alpha of the house, and she's not. Come here. Come here, Liz. Really quick. Come here. Come here, fatty. Yeah, she doesn't like to be touched a lot. She's older.
She's cute.
She's been around me for a long time.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm a huge person that's against anything being stolen. I don't like people to steal. To me, it's like the number one thing. We were at a friend's house talking, and as we're walking into the house, it's through the garage. They had this little dog in this tiny cage. It barely could turn around there. I was like, what the hell's up here? She goes, my daughter. She keeps this dog in her cage. All she does is let it out for 2 seconds, leaves it in there all day.
No,
yeah,
that's cute.
So when we left, I stole the dog. So that's her. I've never stolen in my life. This is one and only thing I've ever stolen.
You rescued the dog.
Yeah. So I don't have no regrets for that.
No, because dogs need to be treated with they're man's best friend. God created them.
Well, they're family members for us. You know what I mean?
Right. God created them to support us and to protect us and to be with us through the journey.
Their instincts are phenomenal. And we had 2 pet bulls that were here, but they grew up in the house, and Lizzie was already older. So what she would do when they were puppies, she'd get beating the dogs up. I was like, why are you so mean to the dogs? Well, when they got older, I figured it out, because the dogs stay in my room with me. The bigger dogs want to come in because they think it's a special room. They don't understand why they can't come in. And when they tried coming in, at first, the little dog, Lizzie, would attack them and beat them up really bad. And I was like, why are you doing that? But when they got older, this is funny. I watched them walk through the doorway.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they would crawl down and then kneel and then turn their head away from Lizzie. And Lizzie would walk up to him and just stare at him and growl. And it would sit there in that one position. I was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, stop being such a little bitch, move. And she wouldn't. She would just stand there and wait. And what she's waiting to see is if they dare stare at her. And then she would do something that the dogs knew was okay. And then they'd get up and be happy. I figured it out. She wanted to make sure that they realized that she is the queen of the house. She's the alpha. And when they got bigger, the fear from when they were a puppy of getting their ass kicked carried over to when they were adults. They still feared her. So I was like, oh, that's really slick. So people who don't understand this process, you know, you got to let it happen. I know you don't want your dogs to fight, but if not, if the bigger dog, because we had one that was almost medium size, so it didn't have the same kind of respect, but semi-respect her, but they would fight all the time. And a bigger dog is much bigger and it would hurt the little dog. So I was like, no, so you got to let her establish herself is what it is. And so that's what I did. But she has no problems with fighting pit bulls, dude. She's a feisty little bitch and a meanie, you know what I mean? So
well, it sounds like you and I have the same perspective with dogs. You have to let them do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I've rescued a lot of dogs, and this guy had been in 4 homes prior to getting to my home, and he's a very dominant alpha dog.
Yeah.
And they let him dominate the house. He literally drove the humans to keep taking him back, like giving him up because they couldn't figure out how to control him.
Well, they don't know anything about dogs. That's why.
Right, I know.
If you get a dog that's already growing, especially males, as a male human being, you have to go and establish right away that you're the actual alpha.
Right.
So the dogs think I'm the alpha of the house, but you know, Queen Lizzie over here, she's like, he might be the older alpha, but I am the queen of the house. And that includes like when I'm dating, when females come in, she makes it well known that she's the alpha of the house. And you have to go through her. So she either will bite you or she'll respect you. For some reason, she knows instinctively. And I've realized throughout time that, oh, that girlfriend is definitely not good for me because of my dog's attacking her. There must be a reason. So, yeah.
Well, they pick up on things we don't see.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
And I think it could be spiritual things that come on people.
Well, they see, what is it, 2 dimensions more than we do. And so, you know, their perception of things is a lot different. When my father passed away, the 3 dogs, for some reason, would go to my closet and they would just stand and stare in there. And I was like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? I thought, oh, maybe it's because we live next to a field, a mouse or a rat or something. And I was standing there listening because usually you can hear them. I go, there's no sound. And then all 3 of them would sit down at the same time. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you, wackadoodles? And then one day it dawned on me, I go, oh my God, when my dad used to come home, they used to stand in front of him and then, you know, sit down. And I was like, so I was all looking in the closet like this, you know, like, are you in there? Like the dogs know. So it was funny because when they did that, I knew my dad was present. And so I would just start talking, having my conversation. But the dogs would let me know all the time when something's up. Right. For some reason, you know, not to get too far into the weeds here about a girl I was dating. She had 3 sons that I helped her raise. They're not my kids. They're his kids. Father had drug issues without getting into details. He wanted to sober up. I said, fine, come here. And he lived in a house with us. Right. And for 2 years, he's clean and sober. When he started falling off the wagon, the dogs knew. And they started attacking him when he came to the door. And I was like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? You know this guy. No. They were biting him. And I was like, something's wrong. And I look at him and I go, oh my God, I knew right away what was up. The dogs. So I read something about when people are addicted, have any kind of addictions, there's a really kind of lesser demon. Behave yourself. We have a new male puppy. She's yeah. So he's grown big, but the female is much older. So she's teaching him how to be a man. It's funny to watch. If you hear her, she's kicking the crap out of him right now.
I can't hear, but you're right.
Yeah, she's teaching him how to fight. And
males in this country.
Huh?
We've been teaching the males how to be. Oh, don't even get me started with that. Thank God.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why it's good for competition. Stop being a little asshole. There's a reason why it's good for competition, people to compete in sports, because one, you know, it teaches you to be a better person. And let's just put it this way. The powers that be that are trying to just destroy this country and the world know these things are good for people, but try to tear up every tradition that we have. Oh no, you need participation trophies. No, you don't. How is a person
There's
going
a
to know to
winner
be?
and a loser.
Yeah. Well, it's
You have
not
to
just so
learn
much
to
about winning and
lose.
losing. It's if you guys want to be the champion, you have to push yourself to be better. Not just you, but you help push your team. You
But
know what I mean?
socialism, all you have to do is participate.
Yes, communism. People don't realize that socialism is only the first step to
Right.
communism.
It's communism light.
Well, then that's why they have an attack on religion, because in communism, your gods are your leaders.
Of
Most of them,
course.
yeah. So, and what I was going to say was when a person is dealing with addictions, they are actually possessed by a very lower form demon that's very strong against them. But people don't realize that's a fight you have to fight if you have any kind of addiction.
Yep.
And you could literally you could beat this demon. It's not that hard, but you have to want to stop. And I'm not saying it's easy, because the fight is, anybody dealing with addiction has ever dealt with addiction, the fight is not easy. But understand that you have the ability to beat this particular demon. So when he comes in high, the dogs see the demon, not the human. And so they attack him all the time. And I was like, what the heck's going on? And then I figured out, I was like, oh my God, he's addicted again. He's doing drugs again. And I was right. And we had to get him out of the house. But again, trusting dogs' intuition for that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dogs never liked my neighbor, like to the north. And he only came into our house once, because he revealed himself to be a self-proclaimed not a nice person. He said it 3 times out of his mouth. And I always say, people will tell you who they really are. Believe them. And so then he got bored, or I don't know. He tried to take a piece of our property, and God had me confront him strongly and I recorded it. I established there was a property line dispute, and had to hire an attorney, paid a lot of money too, and kept him at bay. Well, finally, he put the money out to get a survey, which I already knew what the property lines were because I've had the deed. I've lived in this house for 20 years. And I said, if he pushes it, he's going to owe me an easement. So he kept believing he was right. He's narcissistic, right? He believes he's right. You can't convince them otherwise. They just, so I told my attorney, I'm not paying for the survey. That's going to be $1,000. I ain't putting out $1,000 when the economy's about to crash.
Yeah.
No fucking way. So I see a guy like in my yard one day. I come home and I addressed him and I said, excuse me, this is my property. And he goes, oh, well, I'm doing a survey. I said, for this guy? And he goes, yeah. And I said, okay, I want you to know there's a legal dispute right now over the property line. So you need to know that, so he doesn't manipulate you to tell you where you think it's going to be. This needs to be a legal survey, and you will be hauled into court one day if this doesn't,
go your way.
Yeah. So make sure you dot all your I's and cross your T's, and don't let that guy manipulate you. And he goes, okay, thank you. We waited because my husband and I don't want to pay our lawyer another fee if we don't have to. Right? Never heard a thing. This was 4 months ago. Never heard a thing, because you know what? He found out the property line's in the middle of his driveway, and if he pushes it, he's going to owe us money to park in his driveway.
Yeah, that's what's fun. My friend went through this. We went through the very thing you're talking about. They've been neighbors, friends for years, and over something so stupid, they got in an argument and found out that 1/3 of his garage was mistakenly built on the other guy's property. So he had an option to tear it down, or if the guy wanted to, he had to pay rent. So he made him pay rent, right? Not a lot of money, but his whole point was, why do we have to go through this? After a year, he told him, you don't have to pay me no more. They're friends again now, but I got it. I wasn't mad at the guy. I was like, that's what you get. What was it? What was the point in having to push this? It's, you guys have been friends for, good Lord, since dirt, and
well, he was not a friend. He was not a friend. He just moved in.
No, I'm just talking about you talking about this reminds me of my friend. And you know what? I said, I agree with what he did. You should have paid for a year, but he didn't know how long he was going to pay. The guy's like, after 1 year making these payments, because every month he had to write a check for this stuff, is a reminder of why you don't have to be an asshole about everything you do. You know what I mean?
It's like, I would now, guess what? We used to keep everything in, like we would trim our stuff so that they didn't have a problem with their view of the river. We were always now we don't care. We're going to put a fence up now where his garden won't even be able to grow because I'm like, Screw you. We don't know you from Adam, and you tried to screw us. Like, he thought we were nice.
Oh, but make no doubt about it. Had he been in the right, he would have been giving you guys all kinds of hell.
Well, I told my husband, I said, we haven't heard a peep. You know what that survey produced. So now he's going to ask his attorney, our attorney, to produce the results because it's part of the case. He has to produce it.
Mm-hmm.
So that we see.
Well, the judge, I don't know if you need a lawyer to do this as much as you can just ask the judge ahead of time for a delay in the case, but you want, he's got to give up all the evidence that he has.
Up the results. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. But anyways, that's another topic altogether. We could talk for hours, Pimpy.
I know people don't realize this. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, Mel did a video, and anytime another person mentions my name, this is what I love about people who listen to our videos. There's some individuals who have a real strong dedication and loyalty to certain individuals. And so as soon as anybody mentions my name, I will get a flock of links going, oh, this person's talking about you. And I go, okay, but they don't say, oh, this person say anything bad, this person say anything good. They're saying they're talking about you.
So that's how you found me.
Yeah. So I go, well, no, I've actually came across your videos more than once. So, I would check people out from time to time. And I was like, okay. And then I go, what are you guys sending me? Now there's multiple people. And they don't say, oh, she's talking about, well, some of them do, some of them don't. But the one I came across, the first link, didn't say, she's talking about you. She said, you need to watch this. I was like, good Lord, what is this person saying now? You know what I mean? Because usually it's
I know.
Some person talk about, well, God came to me while I was sleeping, made me float in the air, and told me that the dinar will revalue on this day. It's some crazy like that, Right. And so, just there's a guy out there, me and him went at it. And
the preacher?
Yeah, the preacher guy, the dinar preacher.
He's a little. I'm not going to say anything about anybody.
Mm-mm.
I'm sure.
What I do is I don't take it personally. I don't care what people say. I know people are going to talk about us good, bad, or ugly. So, but sometimes
on YouTube.
Yeah, well, you learn that when you first really get into YouTube. I told people, everybody knows this story. If you've been following me for a while, and I hate saying following. If you've been listening to my videos for a while, because following sounds like a cult. We're not a cult. Right. If you've been listening to my videos for a while, everybody knows the story about when I first was starting. I had no intentions of doing YouTube. I was on another person's channel. Me and that person parted ways. No big deal. Right. But I had so many people saying, please do your own YouTube. I didn't know anything about YouTube. So I started my YouTube channel, and I did not realize how catty people are in the YouTube world. And I was like, people are saying, this person said this about you, that person said, I go, I don't know these people, so what the hell are they talking about me? So my first reaction to people was to attack, you know what I mean? But
because you're a male. You're a strong male.
No, but here's the thing. I have this strong relationship with God and Jesus. So as I'm putting this video together, I'm just being vicious because I'm good at being vicious. And I said, I want to go do it. And literally just like, no, don't do it. And I was like, what? And he's like, don't post the video. And I was like, are you serious? For people who know me, they know I talk to God, I talk to Jesus, and they talk back. And I was like going, why? What do you hear this? He's like, don't do it. Trust me. Take the high road on this one. Which is unusual for me at the time, but this comes with maturity. You learn to not just respond emotionally. That doesn't mean I'm not susceptible to doing it from time to time. I decided, okay, don't. And I didn't. What ended up happening was people respected that more. And I was like, see, Jesus knows best. So
take the high road.
I just said, you know what, this person is saying this about me. And I say, yeah, I know they are, but I don't have no problems with that individual. And that person kept attacking me. And people are like, this person saying this. I go, if that's how they feel, that's not me, that's them. As for me personally against that individual, I can tell you that I had a personal issue. That person helped me with it. Personally, didn't have to, but he did. Right. And this is what that person done for me. And the truth of the matter is, I wouldn't have never been on YouTube if it wasn't for this individual. I don't have anything negative to say, to be honest with you. I had some negative to say only out of response from what they said. But the truth of the matter is, personally, in my mind, I didn't have anything really negative to say about the individual. So I took the high road, and it just garners more respect. So for the most part, when people say something negative, my first response always is, what? And then now it's, okay, respond, but don't do it like you want to do it. Do it in a way that's educating individuals or have humor with it. You know what I mean? Let people know that this thing is just stupid.
Don't get caught up in this. Stay focused on what matters most. So I do silly things. I say silly things there. You know, you talked about, you saw the video, and I put in all those clips in there and stuff
I
like that.
loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, I did. I laughed my butt off. But my followers that came on my live that night, which I didn't even know why I went live that night, Pimpy.
Yeah.
That was like, I wasn't even, there was no plan to go live. It was like, but what am I going to watch on TV? I mean, the programming sticks out to me like
Hey, you want to hear something crazy? I have not watched TV in 6-7 years. I will go on YouTube and decide what I like, and then I will go watch movies that I like. Other than that, I don't want to have my brain saturated with evil and bullshit all day long, because that's where I feel TV is gone. People always ask me, do you believe in God? Do you believe in the Antichrist? Like, what do you mean? You understand that the internet's actually the Antichrist. It really is. Well, yeah, it is.
Well, I think I'm beginning to, well, I probably can't say this online. I don't want to put anytime I question the way.
No, with me, you can speak freely. So what happened is we probably should have talked about this ahead of time. So if we start going down a path in which the subject is super sensitive to YouTube, then I'll put it on my Pimpy's News Network, but I'll put an edited version on YouTube.
Okay, good.
But for me, I have this. This is the one fight that I'll fight, and that's where my stubbornness does come in. I'll put videos out knowing that YouTube's going to get pissy about it, because I can't stand somebody trying to control what I say and what I don't say. So to me, there's times I'll do videos that's more of a FU. Like I'm on suspension right now for a week again. But my friend one time, I was on a 2-week suspension, and he's a friend of mine, but we became friends through my videos. Right. So he said to me, he goes, you know, what you're doing is really selfish. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm trying to speak the truth. He goes, no, you don't get it. Your YouTubes are not for you.
They're for other people.
They're for other people. And when you get in trouble for doing what you do, you get cut off. There's a good chance they're going to take your channel. And they did, of course. They're going to take your channel. And for those of us who are tuning in to listen to this one or that one, how is that fair to us? Right. Your Pimpy's investment chat, not the news. So, of course, I was saying stuff that was political from time to time. And it really made me think about things. And that's why this time around, when I had an opportunity to rebrand who I was, I didn't just go to an investment chat. I wanted people to know that there's an other side of things, whether it's finance, religion, politics, you know, there's the other side of things. And
right. So well, I had to stay out of the politics, because I'm all about, I always tell the truth. Yeah. I always try to support it with
facts.
That's
not popular on YouTube. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I know. So my channel's tagline was always from the beginning, truth, facts with optimism. Because I believe once you know the truth, you can always deal with it. But if you don't know the truth, that's the worst thing, because that's the problem I have with all the deception and the lies out there. I see, Pimpy, it's really deceptive. And I'm like, these people are going off a cliff and they don't even know it.
No, I saw people when I was first starting, people that I, became buddies with, all of a sudden they change. And I'm like, why are you changing? Why are you, they're like, well, on this one I get more views, or that one I get more views. And I go, it's not about getting more. And then you realize there's a part of YouTube that's seducing. Your goal is to try to get as many views. That's what most people are. I'm going to get more views. I'm going to get more subscribers.
That's not what I do.
Wow. The videos when you first started were to just get the truth out. So if you're focused on it, don't get me wrong. I understand if for me, what ended up happening was I was making enough money on YouTube that I literally just quit my job. You know what I mean? Because it was making as much as I was making. I was like, I enjoy this more. I'm more passionate about this. So I don't want anybody to hear what I'm saying that makes YouTube video to misunderstand what I'm saying. I understand you want subscribers. I understand you want views. That is our goals, is to try to grow so that more people hear us. But if that's all that's driving you, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Your goal should be, I want to get out my opinion on something, but I want to be truthful to myself and to the people I'm talking to. That should always matter more than anything else. And the rest will follow. The growth will follow. The money will follow.
That's why my channel has continued to grow, because the only thing I know right now, today, when it's December 21st of 2022.
Lord.
This is the only thing I trust right now. This is the reason why. This is the truth part of my videos. I do not trust anything they tell me. I don't care who they are. Like, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, my God, I can't. Former auditor in me. I used to be maybe I should have introduced myself. I used to be an auditor with Price Waterhouse. That was
wait. I'm sure you're going to show this video on your channel. I'm going to show this on mine. We should probably introduce who we are and our backgrounds a little bit if you want to. Mel, why don't you go ahead and explain to people who listen to my videos who you are? I know you're a life coach. You and I believe your husband, is it Kevin, right?
Yes, he's a fireman.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So
no, you want to hear something funny? Because usually when I call people on the phone, the first thing out of their mouth is, "How'd you get my number?" You never even brought it up, not one time.
Well, because it said Pimpy.
When I called, did it really say that? My ID is Pimpy, is it? I think I did change it I changed that with AT&T, like, God,
I knew who you were, because it's so funny. When Mel Carmine called me, it was a Sunday night. It said Mel Carmine, so I know who you are. But anyway,
you're talking about Melly Mel, right? That's Charlie Ward acolyte, right? Is that who it is? A Charlie Ward acolyte?
Is it
Mel?
Is
Mel
it
K? Isn't that who it is?
No, Mel Carmine. Mel K was a female. She's an acolyte.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about.
I'm not an acolyte to anybody but Jesus Christ. Because I think I'm almost conspiracy theorist proof. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. A lot of things have become true that people have called. I know.
Yeah, but so is. I'm gonna stop you right there, because when here's a lady named Lisa that's in my group. She said, "Damn, as much things as you talked about, people thought were conspiracy, a lot of them came true. Don't you think you need some new conspiracies because all your old ones came true?" And I thought, oh my God, what a funny T-shirt is that? I need new conspiracies because all my old ones came true. Somebody will make a shit out of that.
So, anyways, guys. So basically, I believed there was a God, but I didn't believe in religion. I wasn't a Christian. I was in the corporate world doing very well. I was the first one out of 6 kids to go to college. I studied accounting because I love business and I was good at it. I used to be a math major, computer science minor, till I found accounting and business. And I'm like, I love this because I love business. I just have a knack for it. Well, I got hired by Price Waterhouse because I had a great GPA. I was very smart, got hired out of college with Price Waterhouse. And I loved that job until my parents dropped dead. I was going to be promoted to manager like that next
year. Can't just drop that bomb on us. What do you mean drop dead? Like they both just dropped dead one day at the same time?
I was at work at 10 o'clock at night on the WR Grace audit. I got a phone call at work because I was still at work at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I had a work addiction, not a alcohol or drug addiction. I had a workaholic addiction.
Same here.
10 o'clock at night, I got the phone call to call home. And I found out my mother had literally dropped dead.
Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
I know, it was horrible. And I was in shock after that. I honestly just went through the motions. I was in shock when I don't remember much about the funeral. I mean, I was literally in shock. Well, I went on a cruise because I won it at a lottery at my Price Waterhouse Christmas party. I won a free cruise. And so I went with my boyfriend at the time. And it was very uncomfortable at the captain's table to say, my mother just died. This was like a month later, like I'm on this cruise. Yeah. And I figured I needed it for my head. Like, I was in shock still, but not really, I knew she wasn't there anymore. But I go on this cruise and I come home from the cruise Sunday night. I'm unpacked. I'm home, getting ready to go back to work on Monday. I get the phone call that my father had just dropped dead.
How far apart were their deaths?
February 22nd, June 5th.
And how long have they been married, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, they were divorced when they died, but they were meant to be together. Couldn't make it work.
Trust me, I know about that part.
They got divorced after 6 kids, 22 years.
22 years.
And it was very passionate.
Isn't that crazy? Because couples have been together for a long time, have a tendency to die right around one another. You know what I mean?
Well, when they're meant to be,
yeah, I believe
they die within 3 months apart of the same thing. They both drop dead of heart attacks.
Yeah, well, my mother and father were divorced for a long time. When I was a kid, I have different relationships with both parents. My father died in 2013. But listen to my father talk about my mother was different than listen to my mother talk about my father, because my father always spoke about how it is he fell in love with my mother and why he loved her. My mother was how much she hated my father, and it was terrible.
That's terrible. Is your mom still alive?
No, I lectured my family over and over about getting the COVID jab.
Oh,
and
no.
And I told my sister, she said, Mom wants to get a jab. I was like, do not take Mom to get the jab. And then all of a sudden she says, Mom's sick. I said, what's wrong? She goes, don't get mad. I go, what do you mean? When you guys say don't get mad, that means whatever you did is going to piss me off. So don't say that. What happened? She goes, I took Mom to get the vaccine. And I was like, didn't I tell you not to do that? Sorry. And then she goes, well, then I got it 2 weeks later. And I was like, are you serious? Both of them died within 2 weeks of each other.
Your mom and your
sister, both.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not your fault unless you gave him the jab.
I know, but my heart breaks for you right now.
Well, here's the thing, sweetie. So it was 2007. I got super sick from a liver abscess. Mm-hmm. And then I remember this guy coming in the middle of the night to take my blood samples and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was laying there in bed and I stopped his hand. He goes, what are you doing? I go, there's no need to take anything from me right now. He goes, well, this is what we got to do. I go, no, I'm going to die right now. So there's no need for that. And he goes, what? And then I died. And then I thought I was out for 1 minute and 21 seconds. But when I talked to my doctor, he said, no, it's 3 minutes and 21 seconds. And I was like, oh, but I didn't do the Hoover above the bed thing. I actually crossed over to the other side. So to show you just how funny sometimes God and Jesus have sense of humors. When you first get to the other side, I tell people about this all the time. They can take it or leave it. You're greeted by your family first because there's kind of a shock involved. But when you get there, the loving feeling, sweetheart, there's no words. Yeah. People say, they tell you all the time, can you describe it? I go, no, it's impossible. The best way to describe it is unconditional love. But I said, I remember one time listening to the Staples and they have that song, I Know a Place, Ain't Nobody Crying, Ain't Nobody. I go, that's the closest you can get to it. But I remember before I left, because I had this shit fit. They're like, you got to go back. And I was like, no, I'm not going back. I felt really happy where I was. And they're like, yeah, you got to go back. I was like, oh, wait.
They made you come back.
The first when I got there, I see family members people aren't familiar with, right? But as I'm speaking, you see people behind them, and I mean millions and millions and millions of people. But I knew everybody. I knew them all. And I was like, what the hell? And he goes, of course we do. We're souls that do these different things, and we know one another. We've been around each other for so long. And I was like, this is awesome. I don't want to go back. They're going, you got to go back. I said, fine. If you're going to force me to go back, don't you think you should do something like put some winning lotto numbers in my head? They did. I took those numbers. No, I took those numbers and went to do the lotto. I said, I'm going to win. I felt confident I was going to win. And I won $4. I was like, oh, fine.
More specific.
I could hear them laughing.
I was like, you guys. Because they said it. Why didn't you ask us to win the $82 million lotto?
They're like, sure, you want to win. So I was like, fine. You guys, I can hear them laughing.
Oh.
But I tell people all the time, when it comes to God and Jesus, people would be surprised at the sense of humor that they have. So Mel, it's funny because you said something and we were talking on the phone. You said, you might think I'm crazy because I talked to Jesus or something like that. And I was thinking to myself, no, actually, I don't think you're crazy. Are you there because your picture froze? Did I lose you? Oh, there you are.
Your picture froze.
There you are.
Now you are. Okay. Am I moving again? Your picture froze too. Your internet connection is unstable. Figures. We're talking about Jesus and the other side.
Oh, isn't that how it always happens?
Well, in the name of Jesus, I just decree and declare that this continues unstoppable. Amen.
Yeah, let's go in there and fix this big guy. But my lifestyle is more along. If I had to describe it, it's more along living a rock star lifestyle. A rock star lifestyle. Does that make sense? You're freezing up again. Are you there? You froze up. Your eyes are closed. There you are. You open them.
I
Look like you went to sleep.
I could see it.
Oh, you want to just watch? You want to what? Well, Mal fell asleep on us.
I'm not Potato Head. Potato Head falls asleep in important meetings, but I don't.
You know,
I only call him Potato Head because they're too stupid to probably figure that out. But
look, I'll just make this real quick. So, everybody knows my story. I said this in the video, blows people's mind. It wasn't meant to do that because usually I don't talk about my personal life, especially when it comes to any types of relationships that I have with God or Jesus. Are you frozen again? You're frozen again. Are you there, Pimpy Longstocking?
Something. I'm so glad. Yep. Let me get this out before we freeze.
Go ahead.
I'm so glad you shared that with me because we're both orphans, but we're in the family of God, right?
And
so God is blessing my YouTube family and you, because we're all brothers and sisters, and we're going to recognize each other when we get on the other side. And I believe all my ancestors are coming through me when I do my YouTube, because I'm Native American Cherokee. I'm also, believe it or not, my dad's side, my great Aunt Ann did our history, thankfully, on a typewriter, so it's not in the ethers. And we were stolen off the streets as children and brought over here as indentured servants. And the other part of me is Native American.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And so for this time, and God literally called me to be on YouTube on February 22nd of 2019. I had no idea
I don't think people
why.
understand. No, I'll tell you why right now, because God is waking up his people. And so you're going to see a lot more people. But my thing is, when it comes to discernment, people need to be careful, because I've come across people that I'm listening to, and you got this weird kind of feel good about them, and then all of a sudden they'll be revealed to me, and I go, "Oh my God, this person is misleading people." And
or they're false prophets. I mean, guys, when you read the book, it's all in here. These are the times we're living in. It's very deceptive, and you have to be very discerning with people. And
that's why people should be paying attention to what's going on in Iraq, the Tigris River. Do you know about that?
No.
The Bible prophecy. So here's the thing. Here's where.
Are you talking about the third temple?
No, I'm talking about the fallen angels. There's 4 of them that were placed in the Tigris River. And the Bible talks about it specifically, and they're held in this chamber. But it said they come out with an army of 200,000 once the Tigris River dries up. And people are like, what do you have? There's nothing down there in the Tigris River. Now that's dried up. They found a temple down there. And they're like, now you got a plethora of people watching the temple. It's a doorway, still has water in it, still flooded. It says when it's 100% dry, that's when Armageddon starts. So people are watching it, and people are like, "Oh my God, Pimpy, it's end of days, it's end of times." Like, okay, first of all, stop. There's no end of time. It's called an end of an era. It was misinterpreted in the Bible. That means we go to the next level. So it's not the end of time. Like, oh my God, power to zoop over out. No, it's the end of an era. But of course, if you think about the rebuilding of something, you must destroy something before it's rebuilt. You hear that saying all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so but it's related also to a lot of magic. So this is part of the prophecy. So the original Bible talks about this story. A lot of people in the Middle East know about this story. Modern day Christians don't know about this story.
What about the Hopi prophecy?
Look, anything and everything that's got to do with our Native Americans, you better listen to, because they actually had a relationship with a lot of people that told them what's going on. So I learned that a long time. Actually, my first wife is Apache Indian. So when I was on the res, which is in Dulce, New Mexico.
Wow. Holy cow. Talk
where
about
all the UFOs are and stuff like that.
Well, talk about the different, how you feel the land. I feel it. Like Maine is different than Florida. I love Florida because it's warm. I'm a warm freak.
Well, people with real discernment, you could go to different houses. Okay, so let me just back up just a little bit. So there's these things, they're called archons. They're this type of energy that goes around. Archons are mentioned in the original Bible like 900 times, but in modern day Bible, don't talk about it. Archons are a type of being that brings negative energy. They feed off it. So it starts off with a human. They're walking and they're just having a bad day. The archon picks up on them and grabs them. And then what it does, it starts feeding bad energy into them. And they're like, every day is a bad day. Some of them end up with addictions. The funny thing is, you know who actually sees archons, believe it or not? Tweakers see archons. And people can't figure out how it is that tweakers, yes, tweakers, meth heads, they can actually see archons. And which is weird because
they're freaked out.
No, I'm wondering what kind of I'm wondering what kind of what kind of different altered state of mind they're on to be able to see them. I'm not telling people to go out and do meth. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
God not to let me see the dark ones. Yeah. But I feel that.
I've seen them. I asked.
I don't want to.
One of these days, me and you, one of these days, we'll really get into. I end up with my relationship. Anyways, so the Bible talks about
we live amongst angels and demons.
Oh, sweetie.
And they are warring for humanity.
Archons. Let me just explain this about archons. It starts off with the individual. Have you ever walked into a room and said to yourself, holy crap, if you could cut the tension with a knife?
Yes.
That means the archons have really grabbed hold of this space. They're creating so much negative energy. If they continue, then they manifest themselves into poltergeists or demons and stuff like that. Anyways, not to get too far into that. I'm not sure where it's going. Oh yeah, the Bible's talking about the original Bible.
The Tigris.
The Tigris River. When it dries up, the prophecy is then the 4 angels come out and we start the Armageddon. And so I had tons of questions about this in my relationship with God, Jesus. And I'm saying about what about this? What about that? What am I looking for? Because I'm not going to read that. I get it right from the horse's mouth. That's probably
I don't read it. God told me not to read the book of Revelation. Well, I've studied the Old Testament and the New Testament and how Jesus walked.
Yeah. People don't understand how. So I had people like Bible thumping me at a church one time. So I stopped going. I just not a fan of man-made religion. I have my own relationship with God and Jesus. Every human being should develop it. This is going to sound terrible to say, but I mean this. You should develop your own relationship with God and Jesus away from the church.
Yes, of course.
Because a lot of things that I learned were almost contradicting what the Bible said. I was like, wait, that's not what the Bible says. It goes, no, understand that this war has been going on for a long time. So if you go all the way back in time, if they have the keys to this and you attack the keys, then you could control the masses through fear. That's why I think it's funny. People go, oh man, I'm a God-fearing man. I was like, wait, what? They go, I'm a God-fearing man. I go, well, why are you fearing God? That's your way of trying to say, I love God, I'm dedicated to God. But if that's the case, why would you say I'm a God-fearing person? You should not be fearing God ever.
Love of God.
Unless you're a warrior against God.
If you're a demon, you should.
But
I mean, I call people that turn on you Decepticons because the closer I've gotten to God and doing YouTube, because that's helped me work out some of my stuff. Like literally I process through talking. So thank you for talking to me. And the more I process, the more I'm the faith and financial girl. I'm more concerned about people's enslavement through this new money they're creating.
The central bank digital currency, everybody should be worried about that.
Me too. I'm like, and if they're already running it for a 12-week trial in New York State and in Nigeria. They're trying it on 2 different segments of population, the wealthy and the poorest of the poor. Why?
Well, the funny thing is your Bibles speak about this. They talk about the one world government, the one world order. But people go, well, it's in there and therefore we got to surrender to it. And no, you don't. Yeah, you don't. No, it's okay. You could look.
There's no surrender.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You have the power to bring it down.
But you want to hear something funny, Mal? And people that's in our arena on YouTube, this is what drives me crazy. People go on there and they talk about God. They use God as a tool on their videos. I don't like that. It's one thing if you're sincere versus people are phonies using God. Okay? Yeah. There's a difference between you're sincere. There are other people out there, we know this, that are using God as a tool to try to create more money for themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a difference, big difference. So,
there's a big difference.
Yeah. So,
but God is pouring out supernatural, honestly, and I want to say this to your audience as well as mine. I've been telling my audience this. God literally showed me a vision. There's an open heaven right now. It's been here since last time I saw it. I'd have to look at my journals because every day is a crazy day for me, supernaturally and battle wise. I mean, literally, I battle daily to do what God has called me to do. So there was a window of heaven. God is pouring out supernatural provision. I've had people on my channel. One got a $20,000 check in the mail and a new home. Her husband's getting incredible results with his Huntington's disease because he got on my products, because those products actually work, and because God brought them to me to heal me 20 years ago. But other people have. I had a lady in Texas, literally the ATM was spitting money out at her. Supernatural provision, and people are seeing it everywhere. I had a guy who contacted me just the other day, and he would like give a few dollars, and he would get $100 tip every time he gave. And it's like, I'm telling you, God is using his spiritual principles. And somebody was saying, I don't have any money to give. I said, don't give money, give comments, sow seed, share my content. I said, God sees everything that you do, and watch him, but you have to believe that he will.
Well, I want to be careful of that. I don't want people to get the impression that from what you're saying, because all you're doing is relaying stories. I don't want people to get the impression that in order to get, you have to give. You have to give of your own free will. You know what I mean? Yes. And the rest will come. But if you're giving, expecting something in return, you're going to get nothing.
No. God says, test me in this.
Where'd you go, Mel? You froze up. You there?
Faith is a mustard thing you do. Like your prayers, declarations. You have to believe your prayers work, or your internet connection is unstable. No, I have a hard wire in here.
I'm here. No, what I was saying is, if people are giving, and like, you say, oh, you get tenfold. If you're giving away $10, expecting to get $100 back, and that's all you're doing it for, that's the wrong reason to be doing it.
Yes, but people are struggling financially. And yes, God has me explaining his principles for those who are struggling, that they can get their needs met and they can get provision from God. Seek God for whatever it is. And I said, give to wherever you give.
Mel, that's exactly right. But here's the thing. But because you hit it right on the nail, or the hammer on the nail. I guess, is that how the saying goes? People are on their situation, or people are in their situation for a reason. God is going to show you is eventually you making your own decisions away from God is all the wrong reasons. You need to make your decisions with God. And when you do, you prosper. So if you're struggling, the more you struggle, the more that's God saying, look, stop trying to change your life on your own and let's do it together. Let's be a team. Once you turn yourself over, that's when everything is opened up to you.
Yes.
And people don't want to hear that for some reason. They just...
Well, they do on my channel.
Huh?
They're listening to me. I'm saying the same things.
No, I was generally speaking. I'm like, because I've had this conversation with people before, and they're like, oh, yeah, God's never done nothing for me. I go, man, you have to find a way to recondition people. We're not in our natural state. We haven't been for a long time. We are far removed from God, but we're trying to get back there is what we're trying to do. You're freezing up again, Mel. Are you there? There you go. Okay.
Am I freezing when you're freezing?
Why is it every time we talk about God, we freeze up? We talk about anything else, no problem. We talk about God, it freezes up.
I know. Well, because we're supposed to be together for such a time as this, Pimpy.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know you.
I get. Look, I remember once, I've had a lot of lessons growing up, weird ones. When I was little, I thought they were weird, but as I get older, I go, I get it. I used to have this reoccurring dream that I'd wake up in this light. There was a light around me. It's probably like 8 feet in diameter. Are you there? Did you freeze up again? You froze up again. There you are.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
So I had this dream. Yeah. I had it was like actually like 9 feet in diameter, right? And then I was sitting in like Indian style, just meditating. And then God would say, wake up. And then I would wake up. And then I had these two swords. I pull them out. And then I just start swinging. And past the light in my circle, everything was pure darkness. It's dark, dark. And he seems to come at me, and I would swing my sword and kill him. And it would go for a long time, and I would go for exhausting hours. And then you froze up again. Are you there? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And then, what happened was God would say, now rest. As I was growing up, I was like, why do I keep having these weird dreams? Then all of a sudden, I'm standing with God in this field, and I'm seeing this army come towards me, and they're battle ready. They look like, they got the leather on them. There's blood all
Yep.
over them. It's like the Saxtons almost, that dressing. And I seen them all, and God goes, you know what to do? I say, yep. I turn around, I start running. And literally God grabs me, he turns around, he goes, stop, stop, stop. Look. And I go, do you see how many people there are? It's just me by myself. God said, you're wrong. You're running in the wrong direction. I was like, what direction am I supposed to run in? He said, towards them. I was like, what? I go, okay, I'm not going to question God because it's God. If God's telling me to run towards this army,
Towards the battlefield.
not away from your enemies, but towards them, not away from death, never fear death because it's not death. Run towards this army. I was like, this is what Father wants me to do. And I started running, and all of a sudden I could feel myself change. And his armor goes over my entire body, and these swords come out. They're really powerful. And then I'm fighting this army. And I thought, wow, so these are just some of the dreams that I've ever had. Later on as an adult, it became clear what it meant. I saw a bunch of ugliness that's coming up, and Father kept telling me, look, remember, fear is not God made. That's not a natural instinct that came with us. That's man created.
Yep.
God told us to not fear anything. Because if you walk with God, you fear nothing.
I know.
So, I've had Jesus tell me what's coming up is going to be really ugly. And then he goes,
be really ugly.
Yeah, so don't walk away from the ugliness, walk towards it.
I'm warning people that this financial system, they cannot trust it, but it's coming anyway. And
actually, we have the ability to stop this and change a lot of things. I have people say, "Well, this is prophecy." I said, "You do understand that prophecies can change." Yes. God said, "Look, you can ask me for your help."
If enough people wake up and understand the power and work against it using their own swords, we all have the armor of God that we can put on every day.
Yes.
People don't even know about it because the churches have taught everybody to be passive.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that's why sometimes some of the things I learn is, contrary to what we learn.
That people are so flippin' passive. It's the church's fault that this evil has pervaded the earth because they sit back and they go to church, they warm the seat, they give them their money, and they do nothing.
It's growing. Mel, me and you one day, we're going to get into this long conversation about,
how to fight
God, everything. We can't do it right now because as soon as we try, this isn't the first time. I spoke about it to other YouTubers. Their videos get all crazy. So just know this, people out there.
There's hope.
You can ask for God for help. You can ask God to protect you. But when it comes to help and stuff like that, God will be there. But God is by your side always.
He never leaves our side.
Yeah, but if you're just going to be, hey, I'm just going to kick back on the couch, eat popcorn, watch this movie unfold, and you're not helping in your fight, you're not going to win. And then you'll be like blaming God for it. Oh, I thought you were going to come down and help me. God said, I'll be by your side, but you're going to have to help yourself as well.
Jesus did it all for us, and he commanded us what to do.
Well, here's the thing that people got to remember for those Bible thumpers out there. In your Bible, what does it say? I give you dominion over the heavens
and the earth.
And that means including Satan. It tells you in there, including Satan.
I bind
you have dominion over the angels, the demons, including the devil. So why the hell are you scared? Here's what gets me. You understand that the devil can't do anything without permission from God? That just makes the devil God's bitch. Seriously, if you think about it. What are you afraid of?
When my feet touch the ground every morning, the enemy shudders. He's like, oh God, she's at it again. She's going to set some people free. I set their minds free. Their minds have to be set free first. Then they can do the work that they've been called to do. But a bunch of people are enslaved by the churches, by the politics.
They're conditioned.
All of it is bullshit. Yeah. You cannot wait for anybody to save you. There's not another Jesus coming. Like, we have to my house is a heavenly kingdom. I rule and reign as kings. My husband is my king. I'm the queen. We rule as kings and queens. We are royalty in God's kingdom, and everybody that is in the kingdom should be putting their crowns on and taking dominion over this bullshit. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, but not just your household, the world. That's what people don't understand.
I know. But they first have to take dominion over their kingdom of their house.
Oh yeah, that's true. I see
Dominion over their finances. They take dominion over there. They push back on this bullshit. Like, anyways.
Well, what happens once you take over dominion of your finance and you become financially free? You
have to help others.
Well, not just that, but you also remove the one thing that enslaves a lot of us here, is the monetary system. Now, we're talking about going to the central bank digital currency. For those of you who don't know or not aware of this, the central bank digital currency is a digital fiat dollar. And two things about it that you should be concerned about. One, it has an expiration date on there, which means they have no intentions on letting you do what's called generational wealth transfer. That means if you don't spend the money within a certain time, you lose it. So how could you ever build up or save and have wealth that could be wealth, period? Okay. The other thing about it is it's programmable, which means they can decide what you can and can't buy. For those of you who have not paid attention to what's going on with the Democrats trying to take away our guns, if they have the ability to program the money, that means they can keep you from being able to spend your money on buying guns to keep yourself
or
free,
ammo
or anything else. Look, here's the thing that people don't understand. I was joking about it, but I wasn't. Let's say, because they want to tie it into your medical records as well. So let's just say you're, whoever, and you're obese, you're 400 pounds, and all of a sudden you go to use your central bank digital currency over at McDonald's, then all of a sudden it's denied. And you're like, why can't I get my hamburger? Denied. I have I have a ton of money in there. Denied. Why? Because your medical records say that you are obese, therefore you can't eat fast foods. And it starts controlling what you can eat and what you drink or whatever you do.
Want to eat crickets.
Crickets and bugs, yes.
Manufactured beef. Nicole Kidman was on a commercial showing us how good crickets are, and I'm like, I am never buying your music again.
Oh my God,
I am never buying your music. And I used to love your husband. Now I don't. I don't even look at you. You do not. Who,
Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman was on a commercial eating bugs, saying,
"You know who her father is, right?"
Huh?
You know who her father is?
No, I don't.
Watch. Everybody, pay attention to Mel's face. Ready for this? Nicole Kidman's father is the Jimmy Savile and the Jeffrey Epstein of Australia.
Oh my God. Are you flipping kidding me?
Nope.
OMG.
He is Jimmy Savile, for those you don't know, is the Jeffrey Epstein's version over there in Britain that Charlie Ward worked for.
I knew it. I knew. Oh my God.
He told everybody he did. He said he would decide what girls could go in the back, what girls couldn't. You got, for those of you, look, people go, well, you're afraid of Charlie Ward. Here's the thing.
No, I'm not.
No, here's what happened was, I was talking about Nasera Jacera.
I don't talk about that. I refer everybody to Dr.
Yeah, but when I spoke about it, I was concerned about the way people were interpreting what Nasera Jacera was, and you could see it went out in La La Land. I have, as usual, a more grounded, educated version.
People don't want to hear.
Don't, but I have a more, when it comes to anything I talk about, I have a much more grounded, educational approach to it. I just don't go buy dinar. Well, let's go through the educational process of how this works.
I got another appointment coming up.
Okay, no problem. So, then let's go through this real quick because I know people want to know about this. When it comes to the Iraqi dinar, let's just talk about that real quick. Look, you can't just, people want to compare it all the time to what happened to Kuwait. I did plenty of videos explaining there's a huge difference.
Right.
So here's my thing when it comes to Iraqi dinar. I bought them. I invested in them. People, what's a fraud? No, the Iraqi dinar is not a fraud. The people out there talking about it make it a fraud. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it is a legitimate currency. It has issues. And so on my channel, I go through and walk everybody through how it is that currency exchanges are determined. I go through and show you all the educational steps that are necessary. I go through and show you how the United Nations and our Treasury and all the different penalties that Iraq's under, what it is we're looking for. This way, then, these people know when they watch the video, they know what to anticipate and what to look for. And once that starts to happen, they can feel better about what they're doing, as far as the investment is concerned. And that's the same with the...
No, I agree. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But not everybody likes that. They want to hear that I pull a wand out my ass and it comes with unicorn pixie dust and I sprinkle it on everybody. So that's my favorite saying. People love that. But because I went on a rant one time. I said, "What do you want me to do? Pull a wand out of my ass and sprinkle you with some unicorn pixie dust?"
I think all YouTubers deserve a rant every once in a while because
I go on rants.
We're dealing in stuff that is. I'm a financial person. Okay. I didn't even finish my story. I used to work at Price Waterhouse as an auditor until my mother died, and then my father died. And then after a year, because I went to grief counseling after my dad died and said, I need help with this because I can't, this does not compute. Nobody teaches you how to grieve in this country, which is a problem. I shouldn't have to pay out of my pocket to learn how to grieve, something everybody needs to deal with. But whatever, they don't teach about money or how to grieve because they really don't want you to live very long. They just want to use you, abuse you, and hope you die without them owing your ancestors anything. So just, they don't care about you. The systems do not care about you. No. You have to fight for your own freedoms in this world. Oh my God. Like, get some cojones and fix your life. Like,
look, for me, I have 5 degrees. I have 1 in computer applications, 1 in accounting. I have a bachelor's in, healthcare administration. So my whole background is in healthcare. I did it for 20 something years. I have a master's in public administration. Huh?
Can we do a part 2? I got to go. I'm behind.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I have an appointment. Like,
go ahead. Do what you need to do.
Can we do a part 2? Can we say?
Yeah, let's do this again, man. We'll get together. We'll do this again. All right. So, anyways, look, everybody, you can see me and Mel having a general conversation.
Introduction.
Yes.
Subscribe to Pimpy's channel.
And subscribe to Mel's, of course. All right, you guys. I'll catch you later. I'm out.
I love you.
All right, Mel.
Bless everybody. Bye.